Sullivan. I'm the founder of Warrior Songs, combat veteran, and you're watching Warrior Songs Volume 2 live CD release party. We've been working on it for 2 years straight, collecting testimony for 5 years, and this is an amazing event finally happening. So I'm a little bit intoxicated and a little bit excited.
This one's a bit different. You had to take not necessarily a back seat, but definitely hand off some responsibilities to women and their unique perspective. What was that like?
It was interesting. I attempted to take on the role of women in this project, which meant not being out front, being in the supporting role, and not getting credit. And what I can tell you about that is it sucks. And so, but the more it sucked, the more I realized that we needed to change it. Because and I fully admit, I'm just temporarily wearing this hat. I get to take this off tomorrow. In fact, tonight at the VIP party, I get to stop pretending and sing songs and take the stage. And women for, 4,000 years of written history have always been forced to be in the background. And what it actually taught me in doing this is that these are some of the most talented women in all of Madison. And some of the women musicians we work with are some of the most talented people you're ever going to meet. But they're actually up here on a level, and their male counterparts are actually down here because they have to work so much harder to get that. So I actually, two things I've learned. I don't ever want to have to be in the background again. I'm never going to push anybody into the background again. And I don't know that I ever want to work with male musicians again because they just don't have to work as hard. So this young lady behind us, Shondell Marks, she should already be on a label. She should be touring across the country. She's more talented than her male counterparts in the Madison area who are already been signed to labels. But because of the inequity, because of the patriarchy, because of the way we've run this country, this world for 2,000 years, they're still treated as less than. And this event and this CD is an effort to fix that, And I know I'm talking to my friend Paul, but I'm supposed to be talking to the camera. But it's like everybody has a responsibility to do something about it. Everybody can do something about it, whether that's contributing $5 to a cause, showing up to an event, leading a nonprofit mission. Like every single person can contribute to this world we all envision, which is complete equality and complete dismantlement of the patriarchy, of the hierarchy, of the military industrial complex. And it's done on a multiplicity of levels, and you got to do it everywhere, all times. And it doesn't always feel like we're getting it done, but we're all carrying a little piece of the giant weight. And I feel like I did my part. I at least did my best.
So you had the idea to do this women-specific, a couple of years ago, which was, of course, a year or so before Trump, before Me Too, it came a bit more of a public consciousness. What was the motivation to focus this one?
Well, I had 5 years ago, I was invited to perform songs in San Diego for a women's conference, and at the time I was going anywhere anyone would ask me to play it. So they were veterans who just happened to be women. So of course I went out there because I don't see them as any different than any other veteran. And they asked if I would play songs. So I go out there, and I'm the only guy there, which makes me feel weird. And I'm playing songs for them, and there were 9 of them from all 5 services, Army, Marines, Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard, and they took turns telling their truth, and every single one had been raped in the military, some multiple times. Not only that, they had been either punished for reporting it or punished for defending it. You know, one woman was kicked out because the guy that was going to rape her, he came around the corner to rape her, and she hit him in the head with a wrench, and so they kicked her out. Another woman was raped and then reported it, and then they kicked her out. Another woman was harassed, so it was just like I held my head in my hand as I heard these stories, and I knew they were speaking their truth. And for the first 3 months after hearing it, I didn't know what to do. I wanted to burn my uniform. I wanted to be like, I didn't want to be in the group I didn't want to be in the group of men, and I didn't want to be in the group of Army. And then after about 3 months of feeling helpless, I just thought, you know what can we do? We got to do something. Like, I'm a man of action. Like, we got to do something. So I talked with one of the women that I met at that San Diego event, and she said, hey, do what you're doing. You tell your stories and you tell other people's stories. We'll just make a CD about women veterans. And so I was like, I can't do that. I have a penis. And she said, well, have you ever considered having a leadership team and put women above you and then do what they say? And I was like, that's brilliant. And so that's what we did. And now it's finally coming to fruition. And this is the first time in the history of music that anyone has ever taken the stories of women in the military and made an entire compilation CD. And that's pretty amazing for some dude from Oshkosh who used to drink too much Rumplemans to suddenly be, helping to push forward this effort. And it's going to change the world. We've already received emails of women who have said, like, they're in the darkness and they're feeling alone and they're feeling isolated and they're feeling disrespected, and now they're starting to feel recognized. And that's the start. And they hear their stories on the CD, and they leave the darkness, and they start to heal. And that's what I did through my music for my trauma. Why can't we do this for them? And I hope that we've... this is the first time I'm speaking in this whole 2 years. I hope we've done it right. I hope we've laid a groundwork for what other men who may be confused about how they can contribute, like what they can do. Like, you just shut up and don't add any input and just move the microphone closer to the women that need to speak. If you run a camera, offer to show up. If you write songs, offer to show up, and then show up. This is for the dudes. Show up, shut up, and listen. It's actually harder than it looks, but you'd be amazed at what we can do.
What else do you want to say about it?
I'll say one more thing, and then I want to stop talking because it's so bright, and the beer is so good. When I heard those women talk, I cared about this issue, and I'm married to my wife for 11 years, and I care about this issue. But when I watched my daughter being born, I started to really care about this issue. And we get to decide which world we want to leave for our children, and we get to decide how our kids are gonna be affected by this. And there's a craptastic history of racism and misogyny that we've all inherited this, and we all, especially white men, we carry the shame and guilt of this, and we can either get angry and pretend it doesn't exist, or we can put our heads down, or we can stand up and do something about it. And ultimately, at the end of the day, all of this is about, so when my daughter is 20, she doesn't have to deal with any of this shit. And she doesn't have to deal with, that what was done to these women will be so wrong and so unaccepted by our society and so exposed for the horribleness that it is, that it truly will be, you know, a criminal behavior. It already is, but sometimes people who do this shit get promotions. Sometimes people who do this shit get promoted to the Supreme Court. Sometimes people who do this get voted into office. And we need to create a world where, like, this is so wrong that you don't get to walk with your head up again if you contribute to this horrible way women are treated. And that's an all hands on deck effort.
You already kind of answered, but how is this project different than the first one? Other than your role in the
So, on our last project, we dealt with veterans who had their friends killed, who had their legs blown off and other limbs, who had been horribly injured, who had witnessed some of the worst of humanity, and and seen things that just can never be unseen. And we witnessed how they came home and struggled, and then we witnessed how they found a way to live. This is the exact same CD, except the soldiers are women, and they deal with disrespect and MST and sexual harassment, and people walk by them and say, "What'd your husband do?" Or "You didn't see any combat." Because you're a woman. And so it's actually the last CD, just with a whole nother layer of these other issues. So I fully accept the first CD and PTSD and lost limbs. All of that happens in war. It's sad and it's bad, but it's part of war. But disrespect, discrediting, dishonoring their service, and rape and MST, these are not, they shouldn't be involved in this equation. And so I don't know, the people on the CD have survived 2 traumas, and I don't know what else. I put it all into this, and we gave everything we could, and fingers crossed this is gonna save lives. We've already got it planned. We're doing Vietnam veterans next. I was torn. Vietnam veterans are going to die soon. Women have been abused for 4,000 years of written history. So I had to decide, because we can only do 1 CD at a time, and I just thought the women need to go first. So we're going to...
I haven't played my material in so long. Thanks for listening.
We're going to Vietnam. We're telling their stories, and then I want to listen to this last song.
Sounds good.